Hi, it's Anne from the Useless Crafter for the 12 by 12 cardstock shop. I'm so excited to be with you guys today. I'm going to show you how to put together a cake topper. This cake topper may be different from the ones that you usually see me do. It's definitely more simple, but it's gorgeous. I absolutely love using these papers. The thing is, I do a lot of girly cake toppers, and so when I want to go for a more simple and elegant look, it really comes down to the paper that you use. So the one that I have right here, and I don't have my light on today because you can see how much it shimmers. I mean, this cake topper is just so beautiful. What you want to do is, the way I keep it simple is I pick either two colors, or in the case that what we're going to do over here, it's really one color. But you want the different textures, and you want just the very high quality paper. So this one, for instance, is the foil. It's the gold foil, and then you have, it's the same paper here. It's this metallic, silver metallic. It has some details on it. We will link everything in the video, of course. But on this one, I went again with the gold for behind it, so the last layer. When you can, I like to use the foam tape or stickers just to give it some layers, sort of like the mandala that I did with the globe. You don't want it flat. I mean, unless that's your preference. For me, I don't like things flat, so I'm always trying to add the layers in between. Now, the one that I picked today, I specifically picked this one because I want to show you how to layer when things are too thin and it's too difficult to use the foam tape, because foam tape comes in different sizes, but sometimes it's still too thick or too wide. And then I'll show you how to put on the stick at the end to make it straight. So here we go, we're gonna get started. So again, the thing is, it's with the paper. So I'm gonna show you some of the papers that I would recommend for, more like an elegant birthday or a wedding cake topper. So here is the silver. So you can see I just cut that. And I don't know if you can really focus in, but look at that D for the 42nd. It is really thin, and look how well it cut. Now I'm using a Cricut maker, and I'm going to show you Design Space for those that have a Cricut. But look at how delicate that is, and it cut perfectly. There are no rips in this paper. I just absolutely love it. Okay, here is the other one that we're using today. I mean, just look at it. We're not even outside. So for this cake topper, I took it outside. And if you follow us on Instagram, you'll be able to see it too. I'm going to show, I mean, just look at that. That's inside with just regular lighting. When the sun hits it, it's just gorgeous. But here, this is the silver one that we're using today as well. But some of the ones that would work really well, this is from their new line. I mean, you can see just the detail in the paper. When you cut really thinly, you're gonna get the extra details, and it just makes something so simple really pop and look really expensive. If that's the look you're going for. I'm always going for that look. Something like this is blue. This is the basil foil paper. I use this for the gold as well, and I am in love with this paper. I'm gonna have to look afterwards to see if I can buy it in bulk. This would be super, oh, you can see what I'm wearing. Look at how much, I mean, this is perfect. Look at how much detail you get from that. So just imagine when it's outside on a cake, it just gives you just all the extra details that you want, but subtle. So here, I mean, like I said, this is the line that I would definitely be using for these elegant cake toppers. I'm gonna say elegant. Elegant is the same thing as expensive, at least in my world. All right, so those are the papers that I would recommend. I mean, there's so many more to choose from, but when I'm doing sort of like just like two colors or single color, that's what I like to do. Is I like to layer it using the same colors but with different textures, and that's really going to get you that varied look, but still very cohesive. And if you were to add another layer, I might even throw in glitter cardstock. So on this one, I was gonna go with the gold glitter cardstock, but I just absolutely love that foil paper. So that's why I stuck with that. But I mean, seriously, right? I'm in love with it. Okay, so this is our back layer and our top layer. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to show you how to contour in Design Space for those that have the Cricut afterwards. So this is what it looks like here. This is obviously thick enough that we can put just the foam tape behind and it will pop up a little bit. Sometimes it's so thin that you can't even do anything about it. I would just stick it on. The fact that we have 3 layers, this is why it's great to do 3 layers, is at least we know one layer can have that, that little depth that we're looking for. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to have a glue gun going, because we're going to use the glue gun and we're going to put glue on the back of these thin ones and just let it dry. We're not going to use it as glue. We're going to let it dry and we're going to use it as a spacer. So that will just give it a little bit of height and depth that we want. So I think the foam tape will be fine for happy and birthday, because there's some spaces that are, you know, like where the D is and the H, it's thick enough, and the B. For this one, I mean, I think we can add a little height there, but you know, I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna turn it around. So you wanna turn everything around because we're gonna be adding the glue to it. So you want a precision tip glue gun for this, because we're gonna put just a little dot on here. And the way I do it is I put the little dot and then I swirl it around so that we don't get the glue webbing. I'm not really sure what you call it, but that's gonna be enough to add a little bit of height. When it dries, it's, you know, obviously gonna dry clear and it's gonna be stiff. Then we're gonna put a little bit more glue on, and that glue we're actually gonna use as glue. We're gonna put that one on top of where the 4 is. All right, so on this one, I'm going to add a little bit of glue and just let it dry. So I'm swirling it so that and I didn't swirl very well on that one because I can see my webbing, my glue. It's oh my gosh. You know, I just switched out a new type of glue and it drips so much. So it's definitely not the glue gun, because I've been using this glue gun for a long time, but I do think it's the glue stick. So just be careful with that. That's definitely a lesson learned for me. I was trying out, I went and just got something on Amazon. I didn't realize that glue sticks actually have major differences in quality. So that's what you get, right? Or that's what I get. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this again and hopefully it doesn't drip as much. The 2 is good. This one might be too small. I think with my glue gun, I'm not gonna try it. Normally I would, but I'm gonna do it for the word happy. So yeah, I'm struggling with my glue stick today. It will not stop dripping. All right, that's a big glob over there. And I'm gonna put one more over here. I may have to just buy a new glue gun, because I've been trying to switch out the glue stick, but I don't know if it's just stuck. If someone knows, please post in comments, because I will definitely read the comments. If it sort of just gets stuck in there, if there's enough like remaining in the glue gun that it's causing it to drip. All right, so with this big one, let's do this. We're just gonna add the foam tape to give it the height that we want and the layering look that we want. And then what I like to do is I always have one of these self-healing mats on the table. And I like it because most of the time when we're doing words, or I mean, even when you're doing an image, there's always a section that you know is straight, right? So keep that in mind when you're designing that, you know, in this case, it's easy because the whole, while it's a cursive font, it still has, you know, we can kind of tell where it's straight because we're going to line that up later to put our stick. So when we line this up, then you can use this line here to put your glue, to put your wood stick in, your dowel. And that way your stick is going to be straight. Because when you put it on your cake, you really want the stick to be straight, like because it's going to be off. Someone's going to have to fix it, you know, tilt it. Otherwise you're going to be able to see it. So you want to make sure that your stick is straight, and we're going to be doing that. So, okay. And you can see here on the 4, the glue is dry on here. I'm going to see if you can see how it sticks up a little bit. So when we put the glue down, it's not going to be flat. It's actually going to pop up a little bit. So that's what you would do normally, because look how much is dripping down. So just be careful. That's my tip for you on what not to do, is don't go cheap on your glue stick, apparently. All right, so with the glue, the foam tape, you want to just peel this off. And I always push down on it because I want to make sure that the tape is activated. So it's really important to push on it and to really get it to stick to the surface and kind of let it cure. Okay, so here we go. I mean, just look at this. You can see it's just subtle, right? The darker gray behind it. And then you can see already the layers right there. It really does make a difference. So here's, all right, so we're done with that. Let's put the birthday, let's put some foam tape on here. And it's just a little bit thick. So I'm actually going to use some scissors to, so that, and you want to make it so that it's even, right? So that you don't have a dip in your banner or in your cake topper. So you want to just be even and parallel. So you want to make sure that your foam tape is supporting the whole word. All right. You're going to always put more. Okay. And I love the offset feature in Design Space now for my Cricut. But if you use your die cuts, they always have an offset as well. So there, right? It's just coming together. I absolutely love it. And then I'll tilt it this way so you can see the layers that you get. Okay, now let's do this one. So this has the dried glue on there, which I'm trying to see if you can see it. All right, I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on top, and this is gonna, you know, be what makes it, this is what's gonna make it stick. And we can always clean up the glue afterwards. All right. Now, when you're using this method, what I like to do is I like to hold it down while it's drying so that it is even. So you can really hold it and it will dry that way, and watch. Look at how it pops up, right? And that's from the happy, that's from our glue gun. And then this at the bottom, the birthday, is from the tape. So I love being able to do that. Today is just not a good day with the glue that I chose, the glue stick, but you can see how well that worked for the word happy. I'm happy with it. All right, so we're gonna do the 4 right now. Now the 4 has just one glue dot right there. So it's gonna be important that I keep my finger on there to keep it balanced while it's drying so that it dries parallel to the bottom layer, okay? So here we go. Putting it down, I'm keeping my finger on the actual glue dot. It's leveled. And it's dry. I don't think it's gonna move that much more. So I'm gonna show you what that 4 looks like. Right? Awesome, right? Okay, so let's do this. Now the word second, I'm not gonna attempt the glue dots with that because it's really, really, really thin. So I'm going to use my next favorite. This is the Tombow permanent adhesive. I like this for really delicate things, so we'll do that in a second. Let's do this 2. Now the 2 has 2 glue dots on there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the glue on top of both. And flip it over. And it wanted to like fall down, but I pulled it back and it's dry. And we do need to clean that up a little bit. I saw the drippings. So I usually just take some, you know, like tweezer-ish like tools and grab onto it and pull it out. So that's it. All right, so now onto this one. I always have some scratch paper and just flip it over. Now this is really delicate, so you want to make sure you go in one direction, hold down the delicate parts because you don't want this to rip at this point, right towards the end, right? Okay, so I'm gonna flip it over and do this side. Okay. Then, when you pick it up, this sort of reminds me of like a spider web, like with the webbing. So you wanna make sure that before you put it on your cake topper, because it's a lot easier to clean it up now than it is once it's on the cake topper, just sort of pop the webbing. So like inside the D, you know, that little circle in there, I can see that there's a layer of glue. So I want to just pop it and push it to the side so that it doesn't show on my cake topper. So I'm sort of just cleaning it up right now. I'm going to move this over and hold the N because the N is really delicate. Okay. So you can continue to use this and put it down. Okay, so I'll flip it this way. So you can see the ND is flat on there, but the rest has so many layers that you're not going to notice that. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's flip it over and I'm going to show you how to put the dowel on. Okay, so here it is. I mean, we know even though it's a handwriting and bounced lettering, we kind of get a feel for how it's straight though, right? So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to line it up because here's our loop of the Y. So I'm going to line it up like this. So this is kind of straight for me. And you want to put it kind of in the middle, right? Because you want it to be supported. This is not heavy, so we don't need it, you know, we don't need it to be perfectly centered because if there was like a big hole right here like this, I wouldn't want to put my stick here because then you can see the stick through it. So I want to put it right around here. And you can also, I like this because here's our 3 squares. So this is the middle. The very middle would be right here. which is perfect. So I'm gonna line that up. My dowel is straight with my grid, and then I'm gonna take my drippy glue gun and I'm just gonna put it down on both sides and put glue on both sides. And that's it. You want to just let it dry. Now the thing is, you could also have one more layer of this. If you mirror it and you put it on, then you can have the shiny side out and it would cover the dowel. That's definitely extra. I always feel like you put the cake topper on and no one sees the back of it. So sometimes I'll do it, sometimes I don't. It just depends. All right, look it. Yay. So here you have it. Now I get a lot of questions on how big to make it. So usually, let's say you have a 10-inch cake, then I want to do about 8 inches. So that way you have an inch on each side of the cake, and then you have your cake topper. But if your cake is kind of small and you want to go towards the edge, it's totally up to you. But that's usually my rule of thumb. And look at how I love it. All right, let me know what you think. If you want to see anything else, let me know so that I know what to do next time. All right, have a great day. Bye, guys. So in my last video, I showed you guys how to put together a cake topper. For those that have a Cricut, I wanted to show you how to do it in Design Space. So here we go. All right. Remember, my biggest tip is the quality of the paper for these elegant cake toppers. Look at the shimmer in that. I absolutely love it. Okay, here is the happy 42nd birthday. So the first thing is, obviously, you want to go and pick your text. So in this case, you want to click on the text box, and I'm going to do, oops, and I don't have my keyboard. Give me just 1 second. I was just doing the video for the other one, so I didn't have my keyboard here. All right, so this is one of my favorite fonts. So it's called Hannaberry Coo, and I'll make sure to give you a link to that one. I love this font because if you can see that letter D, it's thin, but it's not super thin. So it gives you that whimsical, flimsy, kind of delicate look, but it's very low maintenance when it comes to cutting it. Because look, I didn't have absolutely no rips, no issues cutting this at all. So, okay, this is the actual size that I cut out. So this is just under 7 inches wide. So if you can see my face, you can see how big it is. This is the exact size. All right, so you want to pick your font. You go to text. So I picked Hannaberry Coo already, and I'm going to type in happy. And then I always, because I want to give myself some space, I just hit, the enter key a couple times, and then I'm going to do birthday because I want it separated so that I can mess with the size and then place it where I want to. So here is happy birthday. Oops, and I forgot to do the 42nd. So let me type in 42nd and I'll move it over here. So if you notice, I love this font, but I hate their numbers. So we can easily go to text and pick a different type of font. You can always mix fonts in your projects. So I'm going to click on fonts. I'm going to exit or X out of the Hannaberry Coo, and I think I ended up using this one. Okay. So on this one, I'm going to type 42. And now we're going to need to sort of size everything. When I first put together a design, I never size it. That's the last thing that I do. I size the happy 42nd birthday to each other. So as long as it's, it makes sense together, then as a whole, I will group it together and then resize it at that point. So there's no point in trying to make this the right size and then from a measurement perspective. So just at a glance, make sure that your whole thing looks good together, and then we can resize it based on your cake or whatever project that you're doing. Okay, so here's the word happy. Oh my gosh. It just disappeared. Okay, here we go. So happy birthday is grouped together, so I want to ungroup it. I'm going to grab the word happy, and I want to weld it because right now each letter is its own thing. And so I want to make sure that when I cut it, it's cutting one word and not cutting the H and then the A. And even though they're right next to each other, it wouldn't be attached. The H would be separate and you would have cuts into the A. So you don't want that. All right, so then let's also weld the word birthday. Now, I don't know if you noticed that, but the letter H, that little hole closed in. So we want to undo it. We don't want that to happen. It's a glitch in the system. So what you want to do is the workaround is you make it really big. So the word birthday is now almost 11 inches. Now I'm going to weld it. Sometimes I've made it even bigger. Let's see if this works. Okay, so this works. So once you weld it, just make it small again. And now we're kind of working, oh, we also want to do it with the N and the D. So let's grab those two. Oops, I want to ungroup it. I don't want the 4 and the 2. So I'm just going to delete the 4 and the 2. I want to weld the N and the D. Okay, and then here's my 42nd. So let's make this a little bit bigger. And you can kind of see the word happy is a little bit smaller than birthday because I wanted happy 42nd birthday to sort of be equal to the, or happy 42nd to be equal to birthday. It's not completely equal. I mean, this is a little bit longer, but you can kind of see I made this top row just a little bit smaller than the word birthday. So let's make this bigger so that we can actually see it. And then let's move this down and you can, let's see, what did I do? I put it over here because I thought it would make sense for the loop of the Y to kind of fill in that space right there. So right around there. Let's make this 42 a little bit smaller. And you know, I don't necessarily like that space, so I can ungroup it and move it in just a little bit closer. And then let's see if we like the way that looks. So you can do something like this, make this a little bit smaller to match. You know, it could be something like this or right around there. Okay, let's say we like this, okay? So you want to grab the whole thing and you want to go to offset. Now the offset, there's a little line right here. That's the neutral line. It's at 0. So if you're at 0, you have no offset. To the right of this line, you have a bigger offset. To the left of the line, you're going to have an internal offset. So it's going to be inside. Now it defaults to 0.25, so 1/4 of an inch. To me, that's too thick. I don't like that look. So you can see here, I like more of 0.10. So you can manually type this in, or you can go and you can move the circle over. It's a little bit easier for me to type in 0.10. And then you want to tab so that it registers that you want it at 0.10. If you like the way this looks, then you apply. So I'm going to apply, and then what I usually do is I will go and click on this offset right here and click on contour. So contour is right where my face is. So it's at the bottom right hand corner. Click on contour because sometimes I don't like all these little dots. I don't like this little dot because I feel like it's just going to rip my paper. So if I click on it, it removes the dot. There. I also don't like these small ones. So if you look on our Instagram account, you'll see that I got rid of all of these. The big ones I kept, but I didn't keep these little ones in here. I think I kept that. Okay, and I'm going to click on here, the 125. When I click on it, it goes back to 100%. It should go back to 100%. Okay. It's not updating. I don't want that. Oops. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to exit out of it. You can see, oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Go back to contour. Well, what happened here? I think okay, it didn't get that. Okay, there we go. All right, so now that we have that, let's click on this again and do one more offset. So I'm going to click on offset. It defaults back to what you put it. your last measurement for the project. So it's 0.10. I'm going to apply. And looks good. We're going to contour though, just to make sure that we, get rid of any small ones. So let me go back. Okay, so here we go. I don't want these small ones, so I'm just going to get rid of those. You know what? I'm going to get rid of all of them. What happened here? It is really messing with me today. All right, I'm going to click hide all. Hide all will hide everything but the big one. All right, so that's what that's going to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to resize it. So this is at 7.5 inches, which is almost the same as this. It's just slightly under. So now you can resize it. I normally do 2 inches smaller than the cake. So if I have a 10-inch cake, I'm going to do mine for 8 inches. So that gives me a little bit of room, an inch on each side, and then, to center the cake topper. But, you can make it bigger, smaller, whatever it is. That's just my rule of thumb. And that's all there is to it. All right, let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see, and we will try to accommodate that. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.